Alright, so today I'll be giving my presentation on the movie Joker. My name is Jonathan Baker, so I'll go with chapter 1. So the first term will be counseling psychology. It's an area of psychology that focuses on improving emotional, social, vocational, and other aspects of the lives of psychologically healthy individuals. And the movie, the counselor is going through and asking questions like, does Alfred feel better? Like, so she's like trying to like feel his emotions, and he mentions how he felt better when he's locked up, and she kind of asks him like, "What do you mean when you felt better when you're locked up?" Like she's asking him, and she's trying to focus on like why his emotions and why his social life felt better when he was locked up. And then the second one will be cognitive psychology, study of cognitions or thoughts and their relationships to experience and actions. You'll see Arthur mentioned he needs to up his medication. The doctor looks up and sees that he's on 7. So you'll see like his relationship to these like drugs, and says that they aren't helping you or you're on like 7. So she's thinking like the medication should help like his mental thoughts. Like he shouldn't be depressed like with all these kind of medications. You can see Arthur has very angry thoughts. You can see like this when he chokes out a man named Alfred in the movie. You also, chapter 2 and 3 will be the next one, and I'll have clinical or case studies for the third term. Observational research study focusing on one or a few people. They have case study office. Arthur goes to, and they tell him they are closing down. Like, so Arthur goes to this like weekly thing, and they tell him they're closing down. Arthur mentioned she asks the same questions every week, so I mean she's studying him, like asking him questions, stuff like that. The therapist observes Arthur's book, also another thing of her. Just you can see she's focusing on Arthur only. Also checks his medical records, has weekly meetings with him. So you'll see that Arthur is the only one that goes to this place, and then they lose government funding. So, but fight or flight response is the next term. Activation of the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system, allowing access to energy reserves and heightened sensory capacity, so that we might fight off a given threat or run away to safety. When Arthur first starts the movie, like a minute in, he tries to take it like he like swirling a sign, like just like normal, like if you saw somebody on the road like having a sign in their hand, stuff, and the kids take away from him, and you see Arthur have this like fight because he realizes he needs that sign to make money, and he doesn't want to take the sign from the owner or he gets his pay docked. So you'll see how he tries to fight these kids, and they jump him and they beat him over with his sign. And but you see that instance. And then the next one will be central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. All the characters you'll see in this movie and this form portrayed, they have the central nervous system. You'll see them function like regular human beings, like walking, which requires a spinal cord, and talking, which requires a brain. So, just normal human things. Chapter 4. Next term will be psychological dependence. It's emotional rather than a physical. Need for a drug which may be used to relieve physiological distress. In instance I mentioned before, Arthur's on 7 different medications for his depression. He says he needs more. When Arthur stopped the medication, that's when he started to turn into a Joker and become a killer. So he killed those 3 people. That's when he got off the medication. The next term will be consciousness. Awareness of internal and external stimuli. You'll see Arthur is very aware of his surroundings, and that he's mostly conscious in this film. Chapter 6. Law of effect. Behavior that is followed by consequences satisfying to the organism will be repeated, and behaviors that are followed by unpleasant consequences will be discouraged. You'll see that Arthur finds killing satisfying, and he loves doing them. He admits on the Murder Show that he thinks it's funny that he killed the 3 Wall Street guys on the train, and that, he had no problem with killing 3 people, and, some people get satisfied by other things, and Arthur, obviously killing satisfying to Arthur. Negative punishment is taking away a pleasant stimulus or to decrease or stop behavior. Arthur loves being a clown and cheer up kids. He brings a gun to the hospital, but it's not because he brings a gun just to bring a gun. It's because he got jumped and he was worried. And Arthur gets bullied in this film, so you'll see that he brings a gun just for his safety. But he goes to the hospital, and he's playing Do the Happy Dance, and he stomps his feet, and then which causes the gun to come out. And then when the gun comes out, Arthur loses his job, and he gets fired for bringing the gun. But I don't think if Arthur didn't have bullying and stuff like that, he wouldn't have brought the gun. He wouldn't have got fired. Chapter 8 will be my next chapter, and the next term will be declarative memory. This was the chapter 6 thing, so it had law of effect and negative punishment. I forgot to show that one, so I'm going to show you it now. And then chapter 7, what the heck? I don't have a paper for that one, but chapter 7, dysgraphia. It's a learning disability that causes extreme difficulty in reading. So you'll see that Arthur has like a thing of notes, and that like when they pan in on it, you can't like read what he's writing because his handwriting's that bad. The next term will be language. So I mean, this one's pretty good, but it's a communication system that individuals using words to transmit information from one individual to another. So Arthur is obviously using the English language in this film, and he is just communicating with other human beings. I mean, even though he's bad at communication, he does use a certain language. Alright, I'm going to go back up to chapter 8. Alright, so I'm back to chapter 8 now. Declarative memory, type of long-term memory of facts and events you personally experience. Arthur opens up to a story in his county skit about his mom telling him he should enjoy school as a living, and he responded to, "No, Mom, I'm going to be a comedian." You'll see that he has this long-term memory of when he was a kid. Arthur's like 35 in this movie, so he had to have like a 25-year memory of, which is long-term, obviously, of what his mom said when he was a kid. False memory syndrome. Recall a false autobiographical memories. Arthur has a thought when he's on the Murray Show, and he gets called down to be with Murray, but in reality it never happened. You can find him later in the show. Arthur has this, very weird thing where he likes to imagine a different reality, that he's not in. Even this girl that lives, 2 doors down from him, he imagines he's doing, romantic things with them, and she never, it's not a real memory. Chapter 9 will be my next chapter. It'll be attachment. So it'll be a long-standing connection or bond with the others. So you'll see in this movie, Arthur lives with his mom since he has mental problems, can't function by himself. Even with this sort of attachment, though, it's kind of funny. He's living with his mom for, probably his whole life, mostly. And he even with this attachment, he decides to kill his mom, which is pretty funny. Or, I guess not funny that he kills, but in the movie, it's funny. Objects permanence. I did that. Even if something is outside, it still exists. Arthur's on the bus and plays peekaboo with a kid, and the kid laughs. This is a good example because I remember the first time we watched, or we went through the chapter, I watched an example video, and it was they were playing peekaboo with kids. Alright, so chapter 10 will be the next chapter. Anorexia nervosa, eating disorder characterized by an individual maintaining body weight that is well below average through starvation or excessive exercise. Arthur mentions that, man, you look skinny, you need to eat, and you can tell he really does need to eat, because when you see him with his shirt off, you can see all his bones and bruises and stuff from him not eating. Next one will be emotion, subjective state of being often described as feelings. You can see Arthur's emotion a lot in this film. He considers himself a comedian, so he loves laughter, but he shows anger when his boss tells him he's taking his paycheck from the sign. If he doesn't return the sign, he goes out back and kicks trash bags. You can see he has a lot of range of emotions in this movie. Next term will be heterosexual, emotional, or erotic attractions to opposite sex individuals. So you'll find this movie Arthur is into this one girl, and it goes to the extent of even following her. Like I mentioned earlier, he makes has these very dreams about having sex with this character and stuff like that. So excitement, phase of the sexual response cycle that involves sexual arousal. So like I mentioned earlier, the neighbor 2 doors down, Arthur gets sexual arousal from her, even though they're not really doing it in real life. He still has that kind of sexual arousal from her. Cognitive meditational theory will be my next term. Our emotions are determined by our appraisal of the stimulus. Arthur kills 3 people, and you see him unbothered, and he feels stronger and starts dancing in the bathroom. Emotions are different for everyone. So, like I said, Arthur loves the killing stimulus. He goes out of his way for it, honestly. Alright, so the next chapter will be 11, and it'll be projection, ego defense mechanism in which a person confronted with anxiety disguises their unacceptable urges or behaviors by attributing them to other people. Arthur has anxiety on stage and he can't stop laughing, but he's trying to do a comedy skit. So like he has this term I'll get to later where he has like uncontrollable laughter, and you'll see like when he gets anxiety or like when he gets uncomfortable, he laughs. Self-concept is our thoughts and feelings about ourselves. So Arthur has a self-concept that he's a comedian and takes on this Joker persona when Murray calls him Joker for the first time. Temperament, how a person reacts to this world, including their activity levels, starting when they are very young. Arthur's not young in this situation, but his reaction to the world is different. He questioned to the therapist if he really existed, and he has very awkward social cues and reacts different to life than most people would, or the average human, I guess you could say. The next chapter will be chapter 12. It's aggression, seeking to cause harm or pain to another person. You'll see that when Arthur decides to kill a character named Randall at Arthur's house, he smashes Randall's head into the wall. So, I mean, he obviously had caused pain to the other person. Astro Effect, it will be the next one. Group majority influences the individual's judgment, even when that judgment is accurate. You'll see in the final scene people cheer for the Joker, Arthur, the guy I've been talking about, and he loves it, and he starts dancing on top of a car. Next one would be compassionate love, a type of love consisting of intimacy and commitment, but not passion, associated with close friendship and family relationship. Like I mentioned earlier, you can see in this movie how important Arthur's mom is. He loses her, and she has a stroke in this movie, and he's like, oh man, this freaking sucks, but he still spends time with her in the hospital. Discrimination, negative action toward individuals as a result of their membership in a particular group. So in this movie, Thomas Wayne says, man, the unfortunate people are clowns, but he's not really meaning that they're clowns, but he is discriminating, poor people, so they all get together and start wearing clown masks and stuff like that for Thomas Wayne. Foot in the door technique will be next one. It's a persuasion of one person by another person, encouraging a person to agree to a small favor, to buy a small item, only to later request a larger favor or purchase of a larger item. So Arthur meets Thomas Wayne, the guy I mentioned earlier, and he asks for a hug from him, and he wants him to be his dad, because Arthur's mom tells Arthur that, Thomas Wayne's your father, but he really is not. It's just Arthur's mom's kind of crazy herself, and he's just saying, oh, be my dad, but I mean, he wants a hug first, and then he asks for, to be his dad, so that's how that one works. Hostile aggression, aggression motivated by feelings or anger or intent to cause pain. Arthur has this plan all along to kill Mary Franklin on set. He has the intent and shoots him to kill him on live TV. So, stress, processes whereby an individual perceives and responds to events that one appraises and overwhelming or threatening to one. Well-being, when Arthur finds out he's adopted according to the records, he deals with so much stress that he goes to this imaginary lover's house and sits on the couch. Like, you can see that Arthur's, like, very stressed out by the situation, and, like, he wants to kill himself. Chapter 14 and 15 will be the next one. And also, this was the chapter 12 presentation. I forgot to do it again. But it has aggression, Astro Effect, compassionate love, discrimination, foot in the door technique, hostile, and then stress. Chapter 14 and 15 will be happiness, enduring state of mind consisting of joy, contentment, and other positive emotions. A sense that one life has meaning and value. You'll see during the end of the movie, like, Arthur is smiling and laughing that Bruce Wayne's parents are dead, and it brings him happiness. And, like, you see that, like, this is when Arthur's life has meaning and value, because he just killed Thomas Wayne, a person he thought he loved, but then at the end of the movie you see that he hates him. Chapter 15 will be bipolar disorder, a mood disorder characterized by mood states that articulate between depression and mania. You see a lot of emotions switch from Arthur, so you'll see, like, happiness, and then you'll see depression, and then you'll see anger very quickly. Like, he's very witty when it comes to emotions. Dissociative disorder, also known as multiple personality disorder, in which a person exhibits two or more distinct, well-defined personalities or identities and experiences memory gaps for the times during which another identity emerged. The Joker character has always been known for having multiple personalities. He switches his feelings into 50 for a certain amount of people. So, I mean, if you ever watch a Batman movie, you can definitely see that Joker has two personalities. Flashback, psychological state lasting for a few seconds or several days, during which one relieves a traumatic event and behaves as though the event were occurring at that moment. In the early moments of the movie, Arthur has this flashback. He's locked up in confinement, and also has a flashback to his mom at a younger age, getting interviewed by a detective, asking about Penny Fleck's abusive boyfriend Arthur. Maniac episode, a period in which an individual experiences mania characterized by extremely cheerful and euphoric mood, excessive talkativeness, irritability, increased activity levels, and other symptoms. Joker's on the Murray Show, and he's out in front of the audience, and he's cheerful and talkativeness because he's nervous, and it's displayed by him describing how he killed those three guys. He loves talking about how he killed those three guys on that show. Psychological disorder, condition characterized by normal thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. You can see that Joker has very abnormal thoughts, and with his love of killing, he kills 6 people in this movie, including his mother. Alright, so Chapter 16, another term. Chapter 16 will be Asylum, institution created for the specific purpose of housing people with psychological disorders. At the end of the movie, you can see Arthur being held in the mental asylum. Behavior therapy, therapeutic orientation that employs principles of learning to help clients change undesirable behaviors. You see Arthur in the mental asylum, and he's talking to the therapist that is trying to change his aggressive behavior. But it's funny, though, because he kills his therapist. I don't know. They never showed how he killed her, but he did. And pseudobalarker effect is the other term I learned. It wasn't in any of the 16 chapters, but it's a condition that Arthur has. It's a disorder that develops in the context of a brain injury or underlying neurological dysfunction. It is characterized as an affective disorder of emotional expression. Arthur has a lasting condition he can't control. An example in the movie, a mom asks him to stop bothering his kid, or her kid. He feels weird, so he starts uncontrollably laughing, and then she's asking him, "Why is it funny? You think that's funny, asshole?" And stuff like that. But yep, that's it. And thank you for the time you gave us this January term.